Share sponsor Lunishma Sami Akashom Lava Sitzchok. We're holding in Bobakamo Daf Pedalit. So we're going to be starting at Pegimel base and the two dots on the bottom. And what the Gemara is going to do in the first stage of this daf, it's a long daf, but it's really more in drushas of psukim. What the Gemara is going to be doing is the Gemara is going to try to bring rayas, bring explanations, several explanations. How do we know when it says ayin tachas ayin, an eye for an eye? It doesn't mean an eye for an eye. It means money. How do we know that? So in yesterday's daf, in the daf Gimel base, the Gemara brought one way. The Gemara brought Makeoto, Makabeimo. We learned from the drasha that it's going to be you pay money and you don't take out the eye. Now the Gemara is going to bring several other pshatim. So first of all, the Gemara says Tanya. We're starting 4 lines from the bottom of Gimel base. Tanya of the story ben Yehuda Omer ayin tachas ayin moment. It means money. Tanya moment ayin mamish. Me talk about actual eye. Amart arei shehoiso eino shazek gdoilo veino shazek tana. Imagine the guy who is the one who's damaging. He has a small eye, and the one who got damaged has a big eye. So then what? Right? I mean, let's say the one who's damaging has a bigger eye. You can't take his eye out. Because why should he pay a bigger eye than the one he took out? Maybe say in that case you will pay money. It needs to be the same judgment for everybody. It can't be that some people will take money and some people will take the actual eye. Amri, my cushion. What's the problem? Because the bigger eye and the small eye, who cares about the eye? Who cares about the size of the eye? We're talking about eyesight. We're talking about the sight. One is able to see. He took away from his friend the ability to see. So you take from him the ability to see. The fact he has a bigger or a small eye, what does that make a difference? So, if you don't, not to say this word, let's continue the Pidal Amunalv. Koton Shahorok is a godol, the godol Shahorok is a koton. You have an adult who killed a child, or not a child, but you have a big person who killed a small person, or a small person who killed a big person. So you want to tell me that then by miso, the din is you have to kill. You kill somebody for killing. If so, how do you kill him? It needs to be the same judgment for everybody. He took a neshama, you took away a neshama. It's a neshama for a neshama. So here you take the sight away, and that's not a raya. So the Gemara is doing this attempt to tell me that ayin tachas ayin must be money. Another attempt. Tanya Yidach. Rabbi Shimon Yechoimer ayin tachas ayin moment has to be money. Tamer moment oinu elonim ayin mahash means to take actual eye. Harei shaya sumo v'simo. What happens if he was already blind and he blinded somebody? Kiteya v'kiteya. He was already missing a leg and he cut someone else's leg. Chigya v'chigya. Different type of imputations. You take out the bottom leg, the top of the leg. How are you going to be kind that way? Right? Meaning, it says there has to be the same mishpat. How can it be? You're going to have a person who's already blind, so if he takes the eye of somebody, you can't take his eye away. You take his eye away, how he's going to pay? So my question, what's the question? Wherever you can, you can. You can't, you can't. Trade for shor against the shor. You have a person who's a tradeful. He's sick. He's going to die. What do you do with this person? You want to kill him? He's already considered to be dead. Let him be butter. So that's why the Gemara says again. The Gemara says this attempt to tell me the ayin tachas ayin is money is not a good raya just because there's somebody who will be potter. Now, just an interesting point over here. What is the case about a trade for? Rashi says it's eidu shiata echol lazima, right? Why is it the shiata echol lazima? Because if the eidu come and say, Rashi says not only the fact that I can kill. Let's say Reuven is a trade for, and Reuven the trade for killed Shimon. So a bunch of pshat in the Gemara. Pshat is what? Reuven, you can't punish Reuven because it's already considered to be killed. So it's not really, you don't have the real einish. But Rashi says, you know what the problem is? It's Eidish Yetechol Azima. Because if two Eidim come and say, Reuven killed Shimon, that's what they say. And then you find that they were Zayimim, you can't punish them. Why can't you punish them? Because they wanted to kill a treifel, not to kill a live person. So so that's why you can't kill Reuven. That's what Rashi says. Ask for Kivei over here on the spot, or here in the Gilin Shas, says Kivei, I don't understand. But then nothing starts. If it's Eidu Shiat Echol Azimo, so Eidim come to Beis Din and say Reuven killed Shimon. The Beis Din said we can't accept the Eidus. So nobody gets anything. But in the case that we're talking about, you have a blind person who took out an eye of somebody else. The Eidus is accepted in Beis Din. So what's the connection between the two cases? That's what Kivei asks, and he stays over here with Tzarech. Okay. Agmar brings another attempt. It says yes, you have to give it to him. According to the gears that we had, that was the Gemara Le'il in last Talmud. Tosis there did not like the gears over there. But the Gemara said, the Nesina is mom. When it says a person gives a mum, yit, it says also Nesina. There doesn't mean money. It means he actually made a blemish. How many Rabbi Shmuel Kroy Seir Dash? So no, we have your extra pasuk. It says someone who does a blemish to his friend, whatever he did will be done to him. Kenny Nelson Boy Lamali. Why have they had the words Kenny Nelson Boy? These extra words are not necessary. Shramino mum. That's the idea of the mum. Says the boy, if so, Kashay Ted Mum Bodum Lamali. Because where the pasuk writes, Kashay Ted Mum Bodum, Kenny Nelson Boy. Why have to say Kashay Ted Mum Bodum? I did the Bible Michtav Kenny Nelson Boy. You want to say Kenny Nelson Boy Shadasino? Because now Kashay Ted Mum Bodum Shadasino, even though it's not necessary, and even though there it's not money. So this third attempt that we learned today does stand, but we know that it's money. Another attempt. Yad biyad, dover anisag miyad liyad. It says yad biyad, whatever is given from hand to hand, which is money. My new money. What do you do from regal to regal? Nothing goes from regal to regal. As kids, we were learning in school, the only thing that goes from regal to regal is a soccer ball. But what else can the Torah talk about? Again, it's an extra puzzle. If it says in the pasuk, you have to do to the aid whatever he attempted to testify against his brother. If it means mamish, you have to say yad. We said it's the same thing. Shramino money. That's why you see it's money. It says more regular lamali. That's why it says regular. I need the cost of yad biyad because it have regular. You're right. Regular doesn't make sense anymore. But once I said yad biyad, which literally means hand for hand, so I say also regular. Now the Gemara brings another reason, another way to learn. How do you know it talks about money? It says that you have to give an eye for an eye, and you have to give a soul for a soul. You don't take an eye and a soul for an eye. If you talk about mamish, you take it out. You will sometimes cause someone to die. How? Once you're blinding him, you may kill him. That's what could happen. Once you're blinding him, you may kill him. So the Gemara says, what's the problem? If Reuven blinded Shimon, you say, okay, so let's blind Reuven. But when you take the eye out of somebody, you may kill him. So it can be that he will pay not only with his eye, but also with his soul. Says the Gemara, my question, what's the question? We do an evaluation, we figure out, we bring a doctor, and we figure out what to do. If he can accept it, he will do it now. Says the Gemara, and if there was a mistake, we thought he was able to handle it. We took out his eye and he died from it. Okay, so that happens. It doesn't say the same thing regarding Malchus when you have to give Malchus to a person. They did an estimation that he can handle the Malchus, and he died. But close to his but So the more so the more so this attempt the more is slugging up. It's not a good attempt. When it says I buying that and should not take that kill him, that we just make sure not to kill him. Rosinu should rabbo amar ko petza tachas petza. This is petza. Liten tsar mipokoim nezik. The petza teaches we'll see later is to teach you that we not only have to pay for the nezik, you also have to pay for the tsar for the pain that he suffered. This like that mean when a person takes out his eye. You take out his eye. If Reuben took a eye of Shimon and he caused him pain, and you take the eye of Reuben, you also cause him pain. So you already got the pain. So why should he pay for tzar? This is my question. What's the question? Some people are more spoiled, more mefunuk, and when someone takes out their eye, they have a lot of pain. And some people are not spoiled, and for them it's not so tzar. Let's say for Reuben, when you take out his eye, it doesn't pay him so much to take out Shimon. So you pay him the difference. We're going to tell us later how do you evaluate this difference, the value, what's the value of tzar. But when the Torah says that you pay, the Torah says you're paying tzar, so why do you pay for tzar? The answer is you pay for tzar because maybe he didn't suffer. It's like the other one suffered. To teach you that you pay for the doctor, not only for the nurse, you pay for the doctor as well. If Reuben took the eye of Shimon and Shimon needs a doctor, we take the eye of Reuben and Reuben also needs a doctor. So my question, some people heal faster than others. Some people need more medicine and more treatment than others. Again, the same point. Maybe you do take out the eye, but if he heals quicker, he has to pay the difference between his refuah and the refuah of the person he hurt. Eye for an eye. You learn money for money. My chazdi of the tachas mishor. Why learn from shor? Near the tachas mehodom from hodom. Tichtiv natat nefesh tachas nefesh. Malo holo mamish of kan mamish. Maybe it means mamish to kill. Amidonim nizikim minizikim. Ve'indonim nizikim miso. We talk when it says nefesh tachas nefesh. We talk about when a person killed somebody, murdered somebody. So that's a murder. I'm talking about nizikim, which only damage. Hadra adonim odom odom veindo odonim odom behemo. Okay, but on the other hand, similar to what we learned yesterday, why do you learn Adam from a behemoth and not Adam from what? You learn from a different tachas, not a tachas. He says Gzerashava tachas, right? We always know when you have a Gzerashava, the Gzerashava is just a word. How to apply it, that each Rov learns on his own. So you go now into the Gzerashava. What's the Gzerashava? The Gzerashava is tachas. What's the tachas? Don't learn tachas when you pay shor tachas a shor. The tachas is your tachas asher ino. It says that you have to pay when nobody is the idea of tachas asher ino is that when a person harms a woman, so meaning when he rapes her or violates her, so he has to pay for tachas asher ino for the fact that he violated her. So there it says tachas. It's Adam Adam. Adam hurting somebody else. If he's zikim, he didn't kill her. He could damage her. So that's the Gzerashava. So this attempt also is successful. It means you actually have to take an eye. Boom. After all the limudim we learned that we don't take an eye, it's only ayin tachas mamish. So the more mamish take an eye, mamish take an eye. He doesn't agree with all the Tanoim we just learned. He says, I don't go and I'm not going to evaluate him like a slave. That's what I'm not going to do. What does it mean? Come on, if you're not going to evaluate him as a slave, how are you going to evaluate him? Like a ben choyim? Ben choyim means slave. Man, what do you mean? How do you evaluate the ben choyim? You go to the slave market and you figure out how much it costs to sell an eved. How much is he worth? But a ben choyim doesn't have value. The Gemara says like this. This is what it means. You don't take out the eye. But which eye do you evaluate? Reuven took out the eye of Shimon. So he has to pay money. How much does he have to pay? The worth of Shimon's eye or the worth of Reuven's eye? Says the Gemara, this Shita holds, you take the worth of Reuven's eye. Reuven took out Shimon's eye. He needs to pay with his eye. Not actually take away his eye. You give the money value of his own eye. Toys really compares it to Koifer Mazik, Koifer Nizak. You pay the value of the Mazik, not of the Nizak. And that's the Chiddush of Rav Ashi. Sorry, Rav Blazer, sorry. Okay. So that was many attempts to learn that Ayin Tachas Ayin is money. It was this donkey who bit the hand of a child. Also, he came from Apol Bashua. It says, go and pay 4 things. I mean, we learned in our Mishnah that when an Adam hits somebody else, he pays 5 things, 5 different Tashluim. It says, pay 4. It says 5. Meaning, except Nezik, an additional 4. He's a donkey. Why does it pay 5? It's only an Adam who pays 5. Teresa says, the Gemara he didn't know the story. He thought that the one who damaged the hand was an Adam, not a donkey. In other words, you have to go and value how much he damaged it. So how do you value it? You have to go to the slave market and value how much it's worth as a slave. Go value him as a slave. Says the father of the child, no. I'm sorry. How are you going to value my child? You're going to go and see how much he's worth in the slave market? You're not going to the slave market with my son. I don't want you to go and value my son as a slave. So 1 second, but the money doesn't go to you. As Rashi brings, and he's going to tell us later, you do that. You make a trust. And the money's supposed to go to the baby, to the child that got hurt. The child lost a hand. Right? The child lost a hand. So he has a trust that is going to be put aside for him to use the money later. The father doesn't want it to be valued as a slave. He's causing his son a loss. He says, don't worry. I'm going to give him the money. When he becomes an adult, I'll give him the money. I don't want you to go evaluate him as a slave. There was an ox who bit the hand of a child. Also, the robber came from the brother. Go value him as a slave. So 1 second, but if he has to be valued as a slave, we don't take the money in Bava. As the Gemara is going to go and explain, you don't take money of an Adam in Bava. He wants to say soon why. He says, you're right. Beis Din cannot take the money out. But you have to go and say how much he owes. Meaning, if the shor of Reuven bit Shimon, let me know how much Reuven owes Shimon. And then if Shimon goes and takes the money from Reuven, we can't take it away from him. We're not going to give the money to Shimon, but Shimon can be toifus. So which means the nezik that a shor got from a shor that was damaged by a shor. A nezik that a shor got from an adam, which means an ox got hurt by a human being. Then in Bava you do extract. But a nizakim that one human being got from another human being. When he's killed them before, you want a human being got damaged from an axe, like this case, ain't going to be above. You don't take it above. What's the reason that you don't take out when an adam got damaged? Because it says Elohim baby. It needs to be Elohim. It says in the pasuk Elohim is based in Mumchim, and that's only in Eretz Yisrael. So when he's kishor b'shor adam nam, it's also when an axe gets hurt. The same thing with Hafidalim base. Elohim baby and Elohim. We need Elohim we don't have. Elo ma'ishto shor b'shor b'adam. So what's the reason that shor is different? The shlichus saikadin, because the base of Chutzaretz is doing the shlichus of Eretz Yisrael. Like we do when we have someone who's a moide who admits that he owes money, or someone who has a law. So it says the Gemara, Adam Shor, when Adam gets hurt, now Mishikosai Kavdim, the same thing should be Adam when Adam gets hurt. Amri says, "Okay, Avdin shechusayu b'midi de kimlon begavei. B'midi de kimlon begavei lo Avdin shechusayu." What we do shlichus is only something that we are familiar with. We know how to evaluate it. A shar, we know the valuation. Another we don't know. So that's why we don't do the shlichus. Meaning, Beis Din of chutzos cannot do it on behalf of Bnei Eretz Yisrael. So why not? Amri shor b'shor b'odam nami lo kimlon begavei. Oh, Beis Din knows the value of an axe. You go to the marketplace and you figure out what's the value of an axe. When an Adam gets damaged, now go check how much is sold in the slave market. Okay, what about damage? You say, I don't know what it is. What about the kefil and Bava Chamisha? That is very easy to value it. Whatever you stole, you pay double or 4. We do the shlichus only in moment, not in knas. So we like kefil, Bava Chamisha is knas. You don't pay knas. Going back to our question, when Adam gets hurt, it's moment. Why don't we pay it? It's only something which is common. Something which is not common, Beis Din of chutzos cannot do the din. Says the Gemara, what about Boish Ugam? Causing, or the girsa of the Bach of Ugam. Boish is the Shliach. Embarrassing somebody else, that is common. Now it's Shlichosar. Then we do Homer Papa. I will pay 400 zuz for Boishes. That's not true. We don't agree with our Papa. The Shor Rav Chizda Rav Nachman, the Shor Rav Chizda said Rav Nachman, the story of Papa. Shor Rav Chizda knas the knas Bava. You're taking a knas and Bava. So as the Toys points out, it's not a knas because Boishes is not a knas. Knas is always things that change. They are fixed. Boishes depends on whether you get embarrassed. So it's not a knas, but it's like a knas because it's not so shchiach. I mean, and it said shchiach, but the Gemara is going to correct it. When we do the shlichus, is only something which is shchiach, it's common, and also there's a loss of money. If it's common, like bushes, it's common, he didn't lose any money. Or something which is not common, like an Adam who hurts an Adam, even though he did lose money, that we don't do shlichus. The Gemara goes in there and explains. When an Adam gets hurt, even though he lost money, because not common, we don't do shlichus. Boishes, out of the shchicha, even though boishes is shchiach, because there's no loss of money. We don't do the shlichus. So that's what the Gemara says. We have rules when we do the shlichus. Says the Gemara, V'shor, going in Bava. You want to tell me V'shor, you do get Bava? V'amar Rav V'shor, she's again going in Bava. Since they show that mazik, we don't take a Bava. So the Azik, who did he mazik? Even with the Azik Adam, you heard of Adam. Now you're sure the Azik Adam, I feel Adam, the Azik Adam, now I'm going to Bava. We said whenever you have an Adam gets hurt, you don't take it. So I say sure. If Adam hurts Adam, you also don't do it. Because it's not Shchiach. Shati the Azik sure. The Tani ain't going to Bava, and so you don't go to Bava. I'm your son betam, ocha b'mod. Oh, I don't know. You're not going in Bava tam, because we hold the tam as a knas. But you aren't going to be a muad. There's no way to be moved in Bava, because you can be made in 3 times. He became a muad in Eretz Yisrael, and then they brought to Eretz the Chutzos. Again, something not shchiach. It's not common to go and be more than Bav and Eretz Yisrael and then bring the shor to Bavel. No, the shor became more here. But who made him more? They said Eretz Yisrael that came to visit. So he said, it's something which is not shchiach. The scholar of the Gemara is only Shem Rekel. Meaning, the Gemara says like this: in Bavel is very limited what we can be goyve. We're goyve the nezokim of a shor. Which is zokim of a shor? Shem Rekel. Meaning, if a shor eats the fruits, produce, you pay. If he walks on the fruits, you pay. That's what you do. Mm-hmm. But you don't pay for Karen because as a tam, it's a knas. He can't become a mud. And if he did become mu'ud, it's l'shchiach. And l'shchiach you don't do. And that's why in Adam Mu'itza Adam, you don't do l'shchiach, and you don't do only chesrukis. So we have very, very limited places where Bavel, actually Bavel, were able to extract money bidin. Continues the Gemara, it said, Tsar, Kvo, B'Shivud, Masbar. The Mishnah brought an example. What does it mean, Tsar? A person went and he burned his friend with a spit. It didn't cause damage, but he hurt it. It caused him pain. So the Tsar, Shalom Kamnezek Mishtalem, Mantan. Who's the one that says that you paid for Tsar even though there's no nezek? Amar Rabbi Nazai, Chiz Ben Nazai, the Tanya Rabbi Omer, Kviyo Nemrot Chilo. It said Kviyo. Kviyo says first. Now just first of all, the Lashon. What's Kviyo? Kviyo means a burn, right? It means a burn. The person got burned. If Kviyo Nemrot Chilo, the Pashup Shad means Kviyo with no Chabura, with no damage. It's only a burn. But as it says Chabura Nemrot Chilo, which means what's Chabura? An actual damage. So now the more explains that what's the machlekes? So the first attempt of the Gemara is going to come and say that what they're saying is what I would think without having another pasuk. Rabbi saw kviya the leis bechabura mashma. Without another pasuk, it says kviya. Kviya means a burn. Burn means there was not necessarily there was any damage, any loss of money. So that's what it says chabura. Legiluya Allah the kviya deis bechabura in iloy. That the next pasuk says chabur. It says kviya in the pasuk, and then it says chabur because it says kviya tachas kviya petzach petzach chabur tachas chabur. So it says kviya, then it's chabur. Why tell you? Don't tell me kviya that has no damage. It says chabur that does have damage. To tell you differently what you thought. That's how Rebbe holds. So according to this stage of the Gemara, Rebbe holds you need to have a tsar. You don't pay for tsar alone, only when there's damage. But how's the zovar? Kviya diis bechabur mashu. Kviya, burn, according to Ben Azai, means that there was a damage. Because of one chabura, then it says chabura. Like the kviya delays bechabur. Now it says chabur afterwards to tell you the kviya has no chabur. So the maskana, according to Ben Azai, is you pay for a burn even though there's no damage. It says once again, they're dashing the pasuk, and you want to tell me what they're saying in the pasuk. So according to what you're saying, when Rebbe says Kviyo Nemrot Chilo, that's the Havamina. If I would say Kviyo, I would learn only Kviyo. Now it says Chabura no differently, right? So, and Benazai says Chabura Nemrot Chilo. What does it mean? If it would say Chabura, it would say only Kviyo, it would say one thing. So they're saying only the Havamina. Is no. It's better when a Brightson gives you statements, tell me the maskana of the statements. So meaning, how do you say it? Rabbi Yomer Kviyo Nemrot Chilo. Kviyo says first. What does it mean? So a kviyo dis bechabur masha. He holds that if you would say only kviyo means a burn. I would say a burn that has damage, that you lost money. Because so now what's the maskana? The maskana is no. That's what the Torah says chabur to teach you the kviyo is without. So kviyo nemrot chila, the Rebbe says, meaning the maskana is that kviyo is only kviyo, only a burn without a damage. But as I mean chabur nemrot chilo, chabur says first. What chabur nemrot chilo means? It's chabur. Chabur means with the damage. Why? So a kviyo is bechabur mash. If you have to say anything else, you would say only kviyo. I would hold it's a burn without a damage. Because I'm going to chabur the gilul the kviyo is bechabur. Now it's chabur to teach you that it needs to be with a damage. Right? The chabur in iloy loy the maskana kind. In other words, when Az and Rebbe, when they're saying their words, goes to the maskana. Right? So two ways the Gemara says. The main point that we're trying to say is there's two ways to understand what is the Torah telling me. When it says kviya, does it mean, but without saying any other word, does kviya mean with a damage? So then chabur tells you, no, that's the damage. Kviya is without a damage. Or kviya means without damage. When it says chabur, teaches you don't think you do kviya without damage. You have to pay only when there is a damage. And we saw two opposite ways to learn who says what. Inami, another way to learn it. Kviya means both. It has damage, doesn't have damage, we don't know from it. Meaning it can be both. What we're learning over here, what does it mean klal prat mechukim ze mizeh? Because the pasuk says kviya tachas kviya, petza tachas petza, chabur tachas chabur. Now if you want to say petza tachas petza in the middle, So now it's like this. Kviya means with a damage, without damage. But then the Torah says chabura, which means only with a damage. That's klal uprat, a rule, includes everything, and a detail, and the detail, and the prat. The prat means with a damage, you only chayav when you have a damage. But here, there's something in the middle. It says kviya, it says petza, and then it says chabura. Do you still say klal uprat? That's a machlekes. The klal uprat and machlekes and mizak k'nifleki. Rabbi Stova ain't dealing with klal uprat, and therefore it's not klal uprat. So kviya means both. Chabur stands on its own. The Gemara is going to ask in a moment why I need chabur. But now it's sort of the name of klal prat, and that's klal prat. The klal tells you kviya, which is both, which is with the damage, without damage. The prat tells you only with the damage. You tell that without damage, you don't pay. So why I need chabur according to Rebbe if you don't do klal prat? The domim is saying, what does it mean? Domim is saying they have to pay more. What does it mean? Rashi learns if it's only kviya, I would say you pay only for the kviya. You don't pay for both. Don't pay also for the tsar and also for the nezek. The chiddush is you pay for both, for the tsar and for the nezek. Tosfos learns a little differently that you have to pay also, and not only when a person damages somebody else and he loses money. So the pain is not. There's two pains. One pain is the actual suffering. He's hurting. The Moshe going to tell us the next death. That when a person hurts, there's a value. How do you value it? The person who's hurt. There's a way to do it. But then there's another thing. When you have a everlasting damage in the body, so a person goes on. He's embarrassed. He's always embarrassed. So for that, I need an eretz domim saying I have to pay more. So what is the Gemara telling us? What is this last part of the Gemara? When the Mishnah said that you pay for a burn, even if there's no damage, I mean you pay for the tzar. Says the Gemara, it's a machlekes Rebbe and Ben Azai. As machlekes with Tanoim, do you pay for pain with no damage? Our Mishnah holds that you pay for pain without any damage. With this we conclude this daf, and everybody should have a wonderful week. Kol Tov.